Now, a lot of people who watched the presidential debates 2 days ago came out thinking that Biden didn't perform very well. How should I put this in a way that it doesn't upset his fans? He wasn't very energetic, right? Like, he didn't have the energy required to face off against Donald Trump. And ever since that time, you see Gavin Newsom going around various media channels, and he's getting the same question. It's like, wouldn't you like to run? Like, why don't you become the presidential nominee? And every time he's like, oh, me? Oh, no. Like, me, no. See, I'm waiting for Joe Biden. It's time for unity. I do not want the mantle of responsibility to be trusted upon me. Like, you're asking for too much. No. Like, when I look at Joe Biden, he's all the way up there, and I'm the way down here. And this is pretty much what's been happening in a lot of interviews. Until this one. And this is an interview where he wasn't getting those questions, though I think he was expecting them based on how he presented himself. So he's a little bit taken aback when someone is asking him something that most people would like to know.
Adam Carolla here. Governor, why did you shut the beaches in California during COVID?
You can notice the moment of silence. It's like, wait, you're supposed to be asking me, like, why don't I run for president? Like this is what we rehearsed. Like, this is what I wanted. Like, why are you asking me something else entirely?
Yeah, I think we all were working on information at the time. We had no basis of deeply understanding the virus. I think they did the same thing.
So you didn't know anything, so why'd you shut the beaches?
States like Florida.
That's a good question. You know, like, here you have the government saying, like, oh, we were working with the information at the time. I mean, we had no way of knowing. But they did know, because when you went on social media and you were talking against any type of government mandate, everything you posted was either heavily suppressed or outright censored. Like, I don't think there has been a more strong censorship industrial complex in the history of mankind since the Inquisition that was so brutal in censoring average everyday citizens. Like, I keep saying this because it's true, and it just, like, managed to get me mind-fucked at the time. Like, you would go out and you would take a taxi or an Uber, or you'd go to a hairstylist or talk to someone that, you know, was a working class lad. And the moment you ask them any question whatsoever about the pandemic, and not about the science, mind you, but you'd ask them about the government policies, they would say stuff that if you were to record them and post them on social media would get banned instantly. So the conversation on social media was so artificial and fake due to the huge amount of censorship that topics that people would be able to discuss in real life at a pub were completely banned. And the topics were legal, right? Like, there was nothing illegal about talking about these issues. And then we get to see, when the Twitter files are exposed, that this was done at the behest of the government. And there was, in the Twitter files, things that, yeah, even if it's legal, or even if it's scientifically true, if it contradicts what the government is saying, if it contradicts the mandates, you're going to delete it. And, you know, you had politicians mixing science with politics. Like, all of a sudden it became indistinguishable. It was like, the science comes from God, and the only people that can commune with the science are the journalists and the politicians. So basically, it went that in Australia, people who were against the vaccine mandates were now called anti-vaxxers, even though they vaccinated themselves. Like, there were people that took the Pfizer communion several times, and then they were like, yeah, but, like, I don't think people should be pressured into doing this. You're an anti-vax. Like, this is how the propaganda was moving at the time. And now you see that a member from the higher-ups of the government, right? Like, you have the Californian governor, and he's basically saying, oh, yeah, well, we didn't know. Well, then why the fuck were you acting like you did? Like you are acting as if you're God, and you are acting as if, like, everything that stems from the government is 100% true. And by the way, I think he did know, because wasn't he the one that was caught going to a restaurant during the lockdowns, right? So, like, if you know that the plague is happening outside, if you know that there's this hugely deadly illness that is taking place outside, right? So it's so dangerous that you need lockdown orders and you need to prevent people from going on the beaches and stuff. Why would you risk your life going to a very expensive restaurant dinner with a large group of other influential people who apparently weren't afraid of getting sick either, right? But like, I love their compassion and huge empathy that they were worried about other people. And like other people should stay indoors. And you get to see this as a trend with most politicians around the world, by the way. You get to see it with the Tories in the United Kingdom, where they were pottying during like some of the most severe lockdowns that London has ever experienced. You get to see it with Justin Trudeau, which was telling people, oh, this Easter, you need to become imaginative. Like, you need to figure out different ways that you can celebrate Easter with your family on Zoom calls rather than meeting face-to-face. And after he finishes that, he takes his entire security detail and goes all the way across country, spreading the plague, allegedly, right? Even like one of the scientists that were at the beginning talking about, like, if nothing is done, you're going to have like tens of millions of people dying. I think his name was Ferguson, and he was actually caught that knowing that he is infected. Like, he knew this, went and saw his mistress, which then gave the plague to the rest of her family. Right, so we get to witness like this pattern of behavior from the politicians that when they were on TV, they were telling everyone to stay home and stay safe, but their actions was to live dangerously, to go out and potty. So no one has got fired over this. No one had to answer over this. And seeing that finally, like, at least some level of accountability is done, which is like one politician getting grilled on television, you know, makes me a little bit happy. I should be made a lot more happier than this, but you know what? I take what I get. So seeing the politician feeling uncomfortable as he has to answer these questions is absolutely great.
If you didn't know anything, why'd you shut the beaches?
Well, we didn't know. Yeah, because people were concerned early.
Even he is like, oh shit. That's a good question. But the interesting thing is, like, they don't expect to be grilled on this. They don't even prepare for this. Like, man, I'm imagining that if I was a politician and I screwed up bigly, I would at least be like, okay, well, if I'm at an interview and someone asks me, like, how do I rationalize this? Like what exactly do I say in order to make it better, right? Now, the correct thing to say would be like, yeah, well, we fired all the people that gave us bad advice, right? Like, I'm a politician. I just enact the will of the people. But I do have advisors that help me with these things. And yeah, like, some of those advisors were wrong, so they're fired. They're not with us now. But the reality is they're not fired, is it? The reality is that they're still there. There has been absolutely no accountability for someone that suggested something which ended up not being true.
We didn't know. Yeah, because people were concerned early in the pandemic. Information was coming out as it relates to how it was transferred, the disease.
I love how it's framed like this was a democratic process, as if it's like, oh yes, well, people were concerned. I don't remember like people protesting, demanding lockdowns, you know? Like, that happened only in Israel, though. And it did happen. But like, outside of Israel, you don't really have like people protesting for more lockdowns or for more authoritarianism. And at the end of the day, this is what really baffled me, and I never understood at the time. And hopefully, like, someone can understand, help me understand now, right? If the vaccine was effective, like, what was to stop a person from getting it and then staying home, right? And like, you minimize the risk for yourself. Why do you so care about what your neighbor is doing? Like, if someone else wants to go to the beach, isn't that their problem? Like, if they get sick, isn't that their problem? Like if you have the solution, right? You got the vaccine. You got the possibility to stay home. You got a possibility to work remote. Why do you care so much what other people are doing? Like these were the questions that the politicians were never asked. Like, I'm pretty sure there's a perfect example and a perfect reason for why it is what it is, right? Like, that there may have been someone, like Gavin Newsom, if I sit at the table with him and I ask him these questions, like, he can illuminate my misunderstanding of the thing. But we never actually got that to experience. We never actually had politicians telling us, hey, well, this is the way things are and this is why we're doing it. Like, these questions were never asked. In fact, even asking the questions would serve you with some nice censorship. So let me know what you guys think, though. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.